Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Norwood Bloodbath. Up to late Saturday evening, a tense blanketed section of this community on the outskirts of tourism capital Montego Bay, Norwood, following the brutal gun-slaying of 4 individuals in 2 separate incidents over a 12-hour period. All that occurred even as the zones of Special Operations ZOZO were active within the area. According to Minister of National Security Dr. Harris Chang, the 4 killing mark a first within the Norwood ZOZO since it was established in April of last year. This area has been very quiet. In fact, it's the first incident since the Zone of Special Operations was declared. But in one incident, you end up with this kind of thing. Within minutes, you end up with 9 people shot and 4 deaths, remarked Dr. Chang, who is also Member of Parliament for St. James Northwest, in which Norwood falls. On Saturday morning, the police were called to investigate the shooting death of 22-year-old Damien Minto, otherwise called Copper, 25-year-old Lenore Martin, also called Akeem, and Delana Spence. Minto, a funeral home employee, and Martin, who worked in a wholesale, are from the worker community, while Spence is said to be from a nearby community. The triple murder came sharply on the heels of that of 17-year-old Devonte Lindo, who was also shot and killed about 9:15 p.m. on Friday night in a section of the Norwood community referred to as Cherry Gardens. It is uncertain if both incidents are connected. We are not sure, but it appears to be retaliation by his friends and family on this community, which was not aware of involvement in any kind of activity at all, Dr. Chang further stated. Reports are that about 9:45 a.m., several armed men entered the Worker Drive section of Norwood community on foot and started shooting, in the process hitting a number of people. 8 of them were shot and the 3 men later died at hospital, while the child and 4 others have been admitted. The young girl is said to have been shot by a stray bullet which flew through her living room window as she was preparing to go to church. It is believed that one of the 3 men who died was one of the men that carried out the attack and was hit by his cronies. This is one person who was shot and killed, and allegedly he was one of the attackers, so it is clear where this is coming from, and the investigative note so far is pointing us in the right direction, Assistant Commissioner of Police Clifford Chambers stated. The police said that 50 spent shells were later recovered by them from the crime scene. Minister Chang also expressed confidence that the perpetrators of the crime will be caught soon. The police have good information from intelligence activity, and we expect them to apprehend the criminals very quickly. There are clear indications that from where they came from and who they are, he remarked. Dr. Chang, however, lamented that the death of Minto, whom he helped during his years at school. One of the young men is one of my students. I helped his parents put him through school. Sober working young person, bright young man looking towards going to college, the minister said. Speaking to the mother of Martin, who identified herself as Sunshine, she said that she was at the police station visiting another son who had been arrested, adding that she had brought in some food. As some food me bring go give me older son. When me hear say them shot him, Lenoy, she said. She shared that her son was a good individual, even though there were times when they had disagreements. My son a one good youth, him no give no problem. More while, me and him we have a discussion. Wrong discussion, that's all, she stated. 2 charged with murder following physical altercation. 2 men were on Tuesday, March 22nd, arrested and charged with murder following the death of 45-year-old Kurt Nemard, who they got into an argument with, which led to a physical altercation. Charged are 37-year-old Kenroy Brown, otherwise called Pops, and 26-year-old Christopher Jones, otherwise called CJ, both fishermen of Salt Gully Old Harbor in St. Catherine. Reports are that about 7:30 a.m., Brown, Jones, and Nemard were involved in an argument when Brown threw several stones at Nemard at his house. It is alleged that Nemard then attacked both men with a machete and chopped Brown in the forehead. Brown then reportedly held onto Nemard while Jones inflicted several stab wounds all over his upper body. The police were summoned and Nemard was transported to hospital where he was pronounced dead. During the investigation, a statement was obtained from an eyewitness and an interview was done in the presence of the men's attorney. Both Brown and Jones were subsequently charged. Their court date is being finalized. Wildman Street man charged with murder. A man who was allegedly among a group who attacked and chopped 36-year-old Winston Dunkley, otherwise called Perry, resulting in his death, was arrested and charged with his murder. He is 21-year-old Romeo Scott of Wellman Street in Kingston. Reports are that Dunkley was inside the house when Scott and other men armed with knives and machete forced open the front door to his room. They reportedly gained entry and proceeded to attack Dunkley, chopping and stabbing him all over his body. Dunkley was transported to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The incident occurred on James Street, Rose Garden, in the parish about 1:40 a.m. The police said Scott was subsequently charged after a question and answer interview in the presence of his attorney. Drive out the criminals, says Prime Minister Holness. Individuals and communities are safer without the presence of people with illegal guns and lottery scammers, and where they are operating, the citizens should help the security forces to find them. This was an admonition from Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who also said the phone lines to provide information to the police are secured and citizens are protected when they help with nabbing criminals. Speaking at the handover of the social house in Orange Bay, Portland on Friday, March 25th, the Prime Minister said, "We now have a police force that has a structure that will protect you, and your security is utmost when you provide information, and we have ways and mechanisms where you can provide information anonymously," he told his audience. In reiterating his call for citizens to help the police in arresting individuals who are involved in crime, he said the police have published a full list of wanted people, and you need to throw them out. You need to drive them out. Tell us what you know. Join us in getting rid of the criminals. Give up the criminals, Holness stated, adding that the Get Every Illegal Gun campaign is yielding results with the confiscation of several illegal weapons, including high-power rifles. Holness said the monetary reward is being steadily taken up, but individuals who know what is happening in their communities, and he implored others to join in the fight against criminality. If you know what is happening, use the channels and get the information to the police. You will be protected. Your identity will be protected. You can benefit from it, and at the end of the day, you would have played your part in making Jamaica a safer place, he stated. The Prime Minister further added that the government is committed to improving the living conditions of people who are unable to help themselves. So our social housing program is connected to our social justice issues, which is also connected to our crime issue, Holness stated, while lauding the Portland police for their recent capture of a fugitive who was one of the greatest concerns for the residents of the parish. He underscored that the police must be commended when they performed. He also noted that the government is taking very deliberate and strategic approaches in the fight against crime while also addressing social issues. Holness, in urging citizens not to obstruct the police when they are carrying out their duties, said any member of the security forces who breaches the law will answer for their wrongdoing, as the administration is about the protection of human rights. Politicians must go to prison too, not just resign. When politicians are caught in scandals or compromising situations, they may resign and offer some semblance of accountability, both individually and on the part of their political party. However, some analysts believe that even when politicians walk away from the political arena, the scandals would have already stained the image of the local politics and added to the widely believed notion that all politicians are corrupt. Political commentator Dr. Paul Ashley told reporters that a resignation is necessary but not sufficient. There must be more than resignation. If there is a prima facie evidence that an individual stole money or misappropriated money, mere resignation means little or nothing. Many individuals, if they could merely resign and get to keep, say, US 10 million, they would gladly do so, Ashley said. The perception that all politicians are corrupt is one that is born out of the evidence of misappropriation of unexplained wealth acquisition. Ashley reported that when found in breach of law, Politicians should be incarcerated to send a message of fairness. People should be going to jail. There must be some attempt to get back ill-gotten gains. These so-called misappropriations must be made criminal offenses. I'm not going into the resignation and give up this or that. It's criminal, he lamented. And there must be some sanction that you never return to politics. You can't thief, then go away and then come back to thief again. No, I shall return. There should be no return. It's a one-way ticket out. That's the end of your political career. Political commentator Powell stated that when politicians resign, unfortunately, the damage has already been done. There's a certain level of corruption that is endemic in our society and system and our politics, and I think the average Jamaican is quite aware of that. And I think that a lot of Jamaicans have already lost confidence in the system, and they have lost confidence in the political leaders, he said. Powell noted that one indication of such is a disengagement from elections. If you look at the 4 general elections in a row, voters turnout has declined significantly. Voters turnout went from 61.46% in 2007 to 37.85% in 2020. Earlier this month, Philip Paulwell, 6th-term Member of Parliament for Kingston Eastern and Port Royal, lamented the decline in voters' turnout and suggested that there is a trust deficiency among the electorate and that high level of voters' apathy is deeply disturbing. Further, Powell said, if attention is paid to certain polls that ask about people's confidence in politicians, there is indeed a lacking. I think we reached a critical point some time ago where I think the vast majority of Jamaicans have decided that our political leaders are simply not trustworthy. And so, there's a way in which it doesn't matter at this point whether or not a political leader who is caught up in unfavorable situation resigns or doesn't resign. He added that he doesn't think that there will be any effect on how citizens view politics today. It's the same old, same old. The average Jamaican has decided how he or she will navigate the system. People are just trying to survive and go about their business, he told reporters. In the same breath, Powell reasoned that the public's view of politics could be changed with consistent equal application of justice and consistent equal application of rules. Over a certain period of time, if you have that, one people could be sure that when a politician or somebody powerful step out of line, the system is not just equipped but has the willingness to actually punish that person or apply the rules of justice to that person as it would do to an ordinary person. Another analysis, Kevin O'Brien-Chang, argued, however, that there is a level of acceptance of corruption from citizens. Jamaicans, they themselves have a little built-in corruption in their minds. A certain level of corruption is okay, they accept that. If you go past that, you resign and all that, but do we want to go to jail? There has never been any real clamor for jailing any politician in Jamaica. We have never heard of any real resentment. You look at other countries and see mass demonstrations. It has never reached that level in Jamaica, he told reporters. Since 1990, not a single Jamaican politician has gone to jail. If you look worldwide and see how many presidents and prime ministers have been charged and convicted, there's a long list. There are presidents and prime ministers, the highest in the land. We have not even had a single elected politician gone to jail for 32 years. In my view, it says either we have the most honest politicians in the world or the parties conspire. Former JLP Minister of Labour, J.A.G. Smith, was the last politician to be sent to prison following his arrest and charge in 1990 for defrauding the farm work program. By conspiracy, O'Brien-Chang explained, when something happens, the kicking and the screaming from the other side opposition only goes to a certain level and then they are back off. Up to this date, I haven't seen any explanation while Kurt Spencer's case was thrown out. The railway trial is coming up. Will we see a push to actually go to the maximum level? And if people have to go to jail, they go to jail? We saw Trafigura drag out for 15 years. O'Brien-Chang also suggested that what Jamaican politicians are paid may be a factor as to why some politicians go rogue. If we pay our politicians more, will they thief less? A lot of the politicians don't even own a house. Our politicians are not living in palaces. They have a big thing about Andrew Holness House. There are lots of bigger houses in Jamaica. Our past prime ministers did not live in luxury, no. They seemed to live decent, but not in luxury. If I want to reduce corruption in Jamaica, I would first go to the salary, he stated. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.